Your cat might look perfectly content, lounging quietly or gazing out the window, but what if these seemingly normal behaviors are actually subtle signs your cat is feeling lonely or sad? Cats are naturally independent creatures, so spotting loneliness can be surprisingly tricky. Many cat owners unknowingly overlook behaviors that secretly mean their feline friend is craving companionship. And you might be asking yourself, am I doing one of them? The truth is, most cat owners miss these hidden signals completely. But today, you'll discover exactly what those signals are. And believe me, some of them will shock you. And remember, if you love cats, hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you never miss a new cat video. Now, let's get started. Sign number 11, excessive meowing. It starts subtly, a few extra meows when you walk into the room, then more at night. Eventually, it feels like your cat has something urgent to say, constantly. But here's the part most people miss. This isn't just random noise. It could be a cry for help. Lonely cats often meow more to try and connect with you. Not for food, not for play, just connection. In fact, researchers have found that cats will change the tone, pitch, and frequency of their vocalizations when they're emotionally distressed or lacking companionship. It's their version of saying, "Please, don't leave me alone again." And yet, cats are supposed to be independent, right? So why would an animal known for solitude suddenly start acting so desperate? That's what makes this so easy to overlook. But the next sign is even more confusing because it looks like your cat is just being clean. Sign 10, over grooming or excessive licking. You might see your cat grooming and think, well, that's just a clean kitty. But what if that constant licking isn't about hygiene at all? What if it's stress? Or worse, loneliness? Cats are meticulous groomers by nature, but when the behavior becomes obsessive, licking the same spot over and over, even to the point of bald patches, that's not self-care, that's a warning sign. Veterinary studies, including research from Ohio State University, have shown a clear connection between overgrooming and emotional distress in cats. It's called psychogenic alopecia, a compulsive behavior often triggered by anxiety, boredom, or loneliness. And here's the hard truth. Your cat might be using grooming the way some people use fidgeting to cope with being left alone too long, too often. You've probably seen it before and thought nothing of it, but what if you've been misunderstanding this sign for years? What else have you missed? Sleeping more than usual. Yes, cats sleep a lot, no surprise there. But when your cat starts sleeping even more than usual, it's time to take a closer look. Because there's a difference between a cat who's just cozy and a cat who's checked out. Lonely cats often slip into long periods of sleep not because they're tired, but because they're bored, emotionally understimulated, and have nothing else to do. It's a kind of emotional shutdown. Instead of playing, exploring, or interacting, they just disappear into sleep. According to animal behavior research published in Applied Animal Behavior Science, prolonged inactivity and excessive sleeping in pets can be a direct result of social deprivation. So that extra nap? It might not be harmless. It might be your cat slowly giving up on getting attention. And if that sounds dramatic, just wait until you hear the next sign, because this one, it might already be ruining your furniture. Sign 8, destructive behavior. You come home to shredded furniture, chewed cords, or knocked over items. It's easy to think, ugh, my cat's just being a brat. But what if it's not mischief? What if it's frustration? Destructive behavior in cats, especially when it's new or escalating, can be a sign of emotional stress. And one of the biggest drivers of that stress? Loneliness. Studies in feline behavioral science, including work from the American Veterinary Medical Association, have shown that cats left alone for long periods often resort to destructive habits as an outlet for pent-up energy and anxiety. It's not spite, it's a coping mechanism. Think about it. Your cat doesn't have the words to say, "I'm lonely," so it shows you with claw marks. But how do you know it's loneliness and not just boredom? That's the tricky part. And the next sign might be your first real clue. Sign 7, cleanliness and following you constantly. Cats are known for doing their own thing. They nap in random places, disappear for hours, and usually come to you on their terms. So when your cat suddenly starts following you from room to room, sitting outside the bathroom door, or needing to be in your lap constantly, it's worth asking why. Because while a little affection is sweet, a sudden spike in cleanliness can be a red flag. In feline psychology, this behavior is often tied to attachment insecurity. Just like dogs or even humans, cats can develop anxious attachment when they feel emotionally neglected. What looks like love might actually be fear of being alone again. According to behaviorists, cats that shadow their owners constantly may be trying to soothe their own stress, using your presence like a security blanket. But here's the hard part. What's the line between healthy affection and emotional desperation? That answer starts to take shape with the next sign, and it shows up in a place you'd never expect. Sign of 6. Change in eating habits. Cats can be picky eaters, but if your cat is suddenly eating less, skipping meals, or just sniffing their food and walking away, it might not be about taste at all. It could be emotional. Changes in appetite are one of the most common yet overlooked signs of distress in pets. Just like people, cats experiencing loneliness or depression can lose interest in food. Their body may be fine, but their mind isn't engaged. According to studies published in the Journal of Feline Medicine and Surgery, appetite suppression is often linked to emotional well-being, particularly in isolated or understimulated cats. And here's what makes this sign so easy to miss. Most people assume their cat is just being moody or fussy, but in reality, your cat may be feeling disconnected and mentally withdrawn. You think food issues are concerning? The next sign looks totally harmless, but it might be your cat's quiet way of giving up. Sign 5. Aggression towards other pets or humans. When your cat lashes out, hissing at another pet, swatting at your hand, or suddenly biting during what seemed like a calm moment, it's easy to chalk it up to a bad mood. But what if that aggression isn't about dominance or irritation? What if it's about emotional pain? Cats that feel socially isolated or neglected can become more reactive, more territorial, and more defensive. It's not that they've become mean, it's that they don't know how else to express their emotional discomfort. In fact, studies on feline stress responses show that social deprivation can heighten irritability, reduce tolerance, and increase unpredictable bursts of hostility. Think of it like this. A cat that feels ignored might not sulk in silence. It might lash out, desperate to be noticed, even if the attention is negative. So before you dismiss your cat's behavior as grumpy, ask yourself something deeper. Could this aggressive streak be a mask for deep unhappiness? Sign 4. Urinating outside the litter box. It's one of the most frustrating things a cat owner can deal with, finding urine outside the litter box. Instinctively, you might think it's a behavioral issue. Maybe your cat's being defiant. Maybe it's just a dirty box. But here's something most people don't realize. Inappropriate urination is often emotional. Cats are creatures of routine and comfort. When they start peeing in corners, on laundry, or near doors, it's not random. It's a sign that something in their emotional world is off. Loneliness and stress can disrupt the very instincts that usually keep cats clean and private. Veterinary behaviorists have documented strong links between litter box avoidance and emotional distress. Your cat might be using scent marking as a desperate way to cope, essentially saying, I feel unsafe, I feel alone, I need comfort. And yes, this one seems obvious, but the next sign? Most cat owners don't recognize it at all, and yet, it might be the clearest indicator of loneliness. Sign 3. Constant window gazing. It's a peaceful scene. Your cat perched by the window, eyes fixed on the world outside. Maybe it looks cute, calming, even poetic. But what if that quiet stare is something more? What if your cat is watching life go by, wishing it had more of one? Yet cats are curious by nature, and window gazing is normal to a degree. But when your cat spends hours staring outside, motionless, day after day, it could be a sign of chronic boredom or social longing. With no stimulation or interaction inside, the outside world becomes their only escape. Animal behaviorists explain this as displacement activity, a substitute for something they're craving but not getting. And in many cases, that something is companionship. So what if your cat's favorite pastime isn't a hobby, but a habit born of sadness? And if that hit a nerve, the next sign just might explain why your cat has stopped trying altogether. Sign: reduced interest in playtime. You grab the toy, you shake it, you try the laser pointer, but your cat just blinks. Maybe flicks a tail, then looks away. At first, you might assume it's age, or boredom with the same old toys. But what if it's something deeper? Cats don't just play for fun, they play to stay mentally and emotionally healthy. When a cat loses interest in play, especially if they used to be active, it can be a major red flag. A lack of stimulation, prolonged isolation, or emotional neglect can all dull a cat's drive to engage with their environment. Studies from animal behavior experts show that social play, especially interactive play with their humans, is essential for a cat's well-being. When that play disappears, it's often not laziness, it's emotional withdrawal. If you've been thinking, maybe my cat just grew out of it, think again, because the final sign isn't about toys or even behavior, it's about attachment, and it might be the clearest signal your cat is feeling truly alone. Sign: one more dependency on toys or objects. At first, it's cute. Your cat carries around the same stuffed mouse, sleeps with it, grooms it, even growls when you try to move it. But what if that attachment isn't just adorable? What if it's a sign your cat is trying to fill a void? Lonely cats sometimes fixate on specific toys or objects, treating them almost like surrogate companions. It's their way of creating a sense of comfort, especially when they lack regular interaction or emotional connection. You might see them licking the same toy obsessively, dragging it from room to room, or refusing to let it go. Animal behavior research, similar to studies done on shelter animals, has shown that isolated pets often turn to comfort objects in the absence of social bonding. It's a coping mechanism, one that hides in plain sight. So the big question is, what's the difference between healthy play and obsessive attachment? That answer? It depends entirely on what you do next. Loneliness in cats doesn't always show up in dramatic ways. In fact, most of the signs are quiet, subtle, easy to misread as quirks or harmless habits. But now that you've seen the signs, ask yourself honestly, is my cat secretly unhappy? Because while these behaviors might seem small on their own, together they could be painting a much bigger picture, one that points to a cat who's not just bored, but emotionally disconnected. The good news? Addressing your cat's loneliness might not be as difficult as you think, but knowing exactly what steps to take, that's the key. And that's what we're covering next. If you care about your cat's happiness, and I know you do, hit subscribe and ring that bell so you don't miss the next video where we solve these problems once and for all.